Happy Sunday, everybody. Hello, this is AL Thick Madame. I am here to do a video for the newest episode of American Soul. Okay, y'all, so this episode started off with Don Cornelius in the back viewing a tape of a commercial that was cut that was supposed to sway him, that this was supposed to be something that they would use during a commercial break. Y'all, it had this guy, and it was either twins or a guy playing double roles somehow, but it was like for Afro Sheen, y'all. And I guess it was supposed to be playing during Black History Month. Did a little Frederick Douglass nod or whatever, but Don Cornelius felt like it was disrespectful and had the dude in the video looking like a coon and all this other stuff. And so the guy he was talking to, kind of supposed to be partnered with him, but they were bumping heads that day. So when I tell you so many things were happening at the same time, so he's viewing that, he ain't here for that. So he's walking up the hall, kind of arguing with the dude, and this woman who is there to interview him for a magazine article in Right On magazine, he's supposed to be meeting with her. He's supposed to have been met with her and did the interview, and she trying to find time, with his schedule just to get it done. And she's, getting more and more frustrated by the moment. You know what I'm saying? So then in the middle of all that, it was just way too much going on. So he actually, to get away from it all, he goes into his office and kind of covers his face with his hands. And then the whore of the moment, what's her name? Darzaneh, whatever I told y'all what her name was before y'all came. She was in there at his desk, and she starts talking, and that's when he realized she's in there. And then he was just like, it's been a crazy day and all that. And they end up kind of making out a little bit, and then she ended up leaving the room. And I'm just like, girl, why don't you stop? I'm tired. So we go to the next scene, and Gerald is at his club, minding his business, when this so-called PI rolls up. And he's talking to him. He was like, who you looking for, what you need? And so he was like, well, I want to talk to you in reference to this person. I think his name was Michael. Michael is the guy who Gerald beat up and, killed because he owed him money and he didn't have all of it during the time that he said that he was going to get the money to him. So he was like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. And, he was like, well, who sent you? And he said that his wife sent him, the dude's wife. So Gerald, is like, oh, okay. He was like, well, I ain't seen him. Sometimes people need a minute to themselves and all this other stuff. And so the money was brought up that he had, that if you remembered, if you watched the episode, this man named Herschel had some dealings with him also, and he was on bad terms with Gerald. And so he was just like, look, I don't know what you're talking about. I ain't got nothing to do with all that. So, he kind of blew him off and was like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. He probably needed some time to himself. I ain't seen him. So, and then they end up showing Simone, Kendall, and Brienne, which is their mother, being played by Kelly Price. They're at the house just chilling. And apparently today is Simone's birthday. So her mama is all happy and excited, and she's kind of chasing her, trying to put this tiara on her. I'm like, oh, that's so cute. So anyway, they end up going in the living room, and Kendall does this little ditty where he was singing happy birthday to her, and he had the guitar going, and everybody having a good time. And so her mama was like, gave her a cake, and she blew out the candles, and she made a wish. So I'm thinking, oh, okay, that's it. Oh, okay, cool. No, Brienne pulled out a gift. She was like, I got a gift for you. So she was like, oh, okay. And so she was like, who is it from? And then it's from her father. And so she's like, oh, okay. So she opens it up, and if I'm looking at it right, it was a jewelry box. I used to love jewelry boxes. I don't know why jewelry boxes were everything back in the day, but they were, and I had one. I don't care how poor we were, me and my sister and my mama had jewelry boxes. Yes. But this jewelry box was special because it had a song playing. She was like, "Oh my gosh, I love this song. This song is so beautiful." And then it took her a second to realize. She was like, "Wait a minute. That's Dad." Her daddy was singing, what is it called? Tracks of My Tears, the Smokey Robinson and the Miracle Song. And I was just like, oh my God, like the whole song was playing. And she was just like, it took her a minute to really realize it and for it to hit her. And she cried a little bit and she got emotional. I thought that was so cute. I was like, oh, so she was like, how did you do this? How is this even possible? And so she was like, well, your dad actually had it planned to give to you for Christmas. He had been planning it and getting it together for Christmas. So she was like, I hope it's okay, whatever. So she came over to her mama and hugged. I thought that was so cute. Oh, I almost cried just a little bit because that is so sad, y'all. Her daddy is dead. I'm just like, come on now. That man was done. That man was done serving his country and was coming home. Like, that was ridiculous, y'all. I just can't. So they end up showing Don Cornelius having the interview that I already said he was trying to have with this woman from Right On magazine, right? So then he gets a phone call, y'all, and he had literally just said that the act that was going to go on that day that they were going to record in the studio was Little Richard. Tell me why Little Richard called. And, talking to him, meanwhile, he over there at some random woman named Rose's house. She throwing stuff at him, and he over here talking about he might not be able to come, and he need to come get him, and all this other stuff. Like, a whole bunch of drama. Like, it was to the point where he was like, it just sounded like you're not in the green room. It was like, no, I ain't in the green room. And all this. And so, he ended up having to ask him where he was. So he gave him the address. And he was like, you need to send somebody over here to come get me or I ain't coming. So he ended up saying, I'll come get you. So it got to the point where he told the woman, like, I got a situation, I'm going to go. And so she was like, well, I'm not doing nothing when you come back, because he kind of tried to make it seem like, well, when we're done taping, I'll finish the interview with you. And so she was like, nah, you're going to let me come with you, or I'm just going to ask the whole article. So he ended up basically being like, all right, come on. I was like, oh my gosh. So outside of the studio, the dancers were out there, right? Flo was out there. She ended up heading up this dance competition where she tried to make it seem like, if you pay me $5 and show me what you got, I'm going to make sure that you get on like we got on or whatever. So she was basically out there scamming people. So the first girl, she really, the one girl they did actually show like dancing like that, she wasn't really all like that to speak on anyway. Y'all, so then Amber Riley's character, Violet, comes up. And so she was like, y'all need to make sure y'all have $5 out or whatever. So Amber Riley came up there. She happily put her money in there. And if y'all don't know who Amber Riley is, how dare you? First of all, but Amber Riley is everything. She's an amazing singer, and she look good, and she big, and she look good with the bigness that's going on with her. But anyway, so she was over there. She was about to, try to audition, and then Flo was trying to read her because she big, and Tess came out of nowhere and was like, what's going on here? And so then, Tess broke that up and then told Flo and them to go on the inside, and Flo tried to take the money with her, and then she put the little thing down and was like, I'm sorry, you guys. And, let them know that she ain't running nothing because she tried it. And I was just like, ma'am, if you don't get somewhere, sit down. But anyway, Amber Riley's character, Violet, Tess, for some reason, felt the need to talk to her. And so she was like, all is not lost, if you're open to it, would you be my assistant? She was like, yeah, I ain't got no life skills. I ain't got no, she was talking about how she didn't have any experience. So she was here for it. She happily went on the inside. I was like, I know that's right, girl. Do what you gonna do. So Don Cornelius and the woman that was interviewing him, They went over to the place where Little Richard is at, which is some woman named Rose's house. Went over there, and even on the phone, he tried to tell him, well, he was looking for him, and he came out and he couldn't even recognize him. He was like, right? Because you couldn't recognize him. I was just like, oh gosh, you're doing the most, sir. So anyway, he tried to explain to him that there is no reasoning with her unless you have this. If you ain't got this, she ain't trying to hear nothing you talking about. So he ended up trying to reason with her, got her to come to the door, introduced himself. And so she was like, I don't know what you talking about. I ain't got time for it. And you ain't finna bribe me. So then Don Cornelius still proceeds to try to put the money in her face. She snatched the money and then closed the door, went on by her business. So then Little Richard and him are outside on the porch trying to discuss like what they can do. And Little Richard was like, what is that I smell? This heifer done went round the side of the house and burning his clothes and throwing them out the window and continuing to burn them. I was just like, ma'am. And y'all know what his clothes looked like back in the day. All that glittery stuff. I'm talking about burning down. And I was like, ma'am. So he all upset. I was like, Lord, this don't make no sense. So I don't know if it's summertime, which I'm guessing it must be. But Simone and Simone and Kendall are at the house. And they just so happen to be watching Soul Train. She's on the phone leaving a message with JT's boss to tell him, this not really encrypted message, but she was like, tell JT that he needs to, there's a table reserved or whatever, he'll know what I mean. And so she get off the phone, and then Kendall, of course, is eavesdropping. And he was like, oh, where you going? And she was like, don't worry about all that. And then they get to talking, and he was like, look, I like JT, but I just don't like him with you. And he was just reading. It got so bad to the point where he was just like, look, he gonna end up either dead like dad or in jail like his daddy or whatever he said. I was like, sir, you have to read. Why? Why are you reading like this, sir? I was just like, oh gosh, he really did not have to read like that. I was like, sir, that was uncalled for. They are now back at the studio where they are showing Violet, apparently where she's doing her job well, being an assistant. So, she did everything that Tess told her to do. And even a few things she didn't ask her to do, like really overachieving. And like she is watching them, the dancers, do all the little dances and stuff they're doing, and they're doing the scramble board and all this other stuff. And like she's so excited, she's not paying attention to what she's doing. Her arm was like in front of like one of the cameras and all this other stuff, and I was just like, oh Lord. So they had to kind of tell her to watch where she is and all that. So then Flo tried her, right? Flo gonna roll up on her with a group of the other dancers and was like, can I get your autograph? It seems like you were able to get in good, and your girl is Tessa, Miss Tessa. Can I get your autograph? And she was like, can you put like to Flo from, and she was like very excited. She pulled a little pen out of air, like had a big smile and everything. And she was like, can you put to Flo from Fat Albert, hey, and all this other stuff, and then wipe the smile clean off of Violet's face. And I was just like, why are you so mad? Why are you so hateful? Like, why? I was just like, Lord. So she ended up walking off from them while they was over there laughing and doing the least. And I was just like, somebody please slap her, because she just get on my nerves. So Don Cornelius and that woman are still at the house where Little Richard is because he refuses to leave. Now, she's burned like all or most of his clothes, right? And he insists on retrieving some ring that he has named Colleen. Even Don Cornelius is like, what? A ring? Oh, okay. So he was like, if you can get in there and get that ring, then I will go with you and do this performance. Whatever. Cool. So, y'all. Private Barker is still at the house with Brienne and the kids. Now, a moment happened, and the kids are not here for him. They ain't really been here for him anyway, because, their daddy dead, and he, I know I would kind of feel like, no. Because, first of all, you're a stranger, and we don't know you, and my mama don't know you, but you staying over. But, yeah. Kendall got upset because old dude came out. Apparently, he went to the bathroom, and they were all in the middle of talking. And then he went to the bathroom and was like, "Excuse me." So Kendall was like, "Why is this guy still here? Like, are you sleeping with him?" Like, he went all the way. I was like, "Is something going on between y'all?" So it got to the point where he was like, "Look, I don't want no trouble." What happened was, while he was walking back, he had on a t-shirt of his father's. He was like, "Is that my dad's t-shirt?" He was like, "Oh, I didn't know that was his. I just saw it out in the garage and I just threw it on." So, like, you could tell he genuinely was not trying to be like, "Oh, I'm about to be your daddy, so I'm about to dress like your daddy dressed," or nothing like that. So Kendall got tired because the dude was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'll take it off." So he was in the middle of trying to take the shirt off. Kendall done got mad and he tried to roll up on old dude. And so Brienne was trying to pull Kendall off of him, and I already knew this was going to happen, but all that stuff triggered that dude's PTSD, and he ended up throwing all of them off of him. And, I mean, the dude walks with a cane and everything, y'all. I was so tired. So it got bad, and the dude apologized. He ended up taking the shirt off and left out of the room. And so Kendall was like, see what I'm talking about? Why you let him in this house? You see what he's doing? You see what he's capable of? Brienne slapped the fire out of that boy. I was like, no! Brienne slapped that boy something terrible. But anyway, so after the mayhem, so to speak, that happened at the studio, where Violet was fat shamed, Tess rolled up on her and was like, "You all right?" She was like, "Yeah, I'm good," and because she realized that she was crying, and she tried to play it off like she wasn't crying, and she was like, "Come with me." So she ended up taking her to her office, and then she showed her a picture of her young self. Tess used to be big, and so she was like, "So yeah, that was me." And so she was like, "What?" She was like, "Yeah, that was me. I started dancing," and she danced the weight off. And so she was basically trying to give her a pep talk and trying to help her to understand that you can't let other people put you down or try to make it seem like you are less than, because you are not any of the things that they say you are. So yeah, I thought that was a cute moment. I was like, oh. So anyway, they ended up going to another scene where Gerald was in his office, and apparently there was some fight money, and only Gerald and one of his little goons were in there. All the other people were missing. And so he ends up asking the dude, like, "Where is this person, or whatever?" And he was like, "I don't know, I ain't seen him." So he had a bad feeling about it, and he was like, "We need to put more people on this money." You know what I'm saying? Like, he had that look like he had when he was playing who he played, Basie Skanks and Greenleaf. And I was just like, oh, Lord. He be right, though. He be having the right feeling. He be knowing. He really be knowing. So, Don Cornelius ended up sneaking in the house to get the ring. And he ended up being able to use the woman who was there from the magazine to help him. So she was making small talk with Rose and was talking about how men ain't nothing and all this other stuff. And so he snuck in the room and went in the drawer that he told him that he could find the ring, and he got it and he retrieved it. So when they were trying to sneak out of the house, the woman actually had gotten a phone call. But anyway, they were trying to sneak out of the house, and then she started coming. And so they couldn't get out the front door. She had all these random locks and stuff, so they didn't know how to open the door. So then they ended up going to the bathroom, which was next door to that. So she was calling for them, well, for her, because she didn't know Don Cornelius was in the house, calling for the woman. And then she was like, she had to use the bathroom. They ran into the bathroom and had gotten in there where the shower was and closed the curtain. So she's using the bathroom. And for some reason, she had a feeling to be like, let me open this curtain. And it was them. So they all jumped out of the little tub. And she tried to say they were perverts and all this other stuff. So they left and they got out of the house. I was like, oh my gosh, y'all doing the most. So anyway, later on that day, Brienne apologized to her son Kendall about striking him. And he apologized to her, but then he made it clear, like, I'm sorry for what I said, but I'm not sorry for certain things that I said because I don't agree with Nate being here and all this other stuff. And I was just like, Lord, this is too much. Y'all, I just can't. It had got so bad that he just read and he told her straight up, like, look, just letting you know now, that if he's here when I get back, because he's going on that Soul Train bus tour, he said that if he's here when I get back, I'm going to be gone. I was like, oh, Lord, sir, you didn't have to do that. So anyway, out of nowhere, I don't know if dude was following him or not because I was looking down, but the scene happened so quick. Gerald was beating down the PI dude in a back alley somewhere, y'all. I was just like, Lord have mercy, sir. Like, beat him down. Like, he good for beating somebody down, Jesus. So he beat the dude down, was like, who sent you? All this other stuff. Dude wouldn't say nothing. And he has this instinct, like, I don't care what he say to me, trying to tell me he a PI. I feel like Herschel sent him. So we'll see what happened later. So anyway, they end up, Don Cornelius and everybody, including Little Richard, they all get back to the studio. And so the woman is rolling up on him while Don is about to go up there and introduce Little Richard and was like, yeah, you know, I think I should be the first one to spill this tea on Little Richard. And he was like, yeah, how about no? So it got to the point where she was like, well, the secret is safe with me. I ain't gonna say nothing. And so he was like, all right. So he went up there and introduced Little Richard. And Little Richard performed. And, you know, that went well. And for some reason, it's like sometimes with certain scenes, they mix them up. So while that was happening, Gerald and that one guy that was in there, they're trying to figure out who the dude is, who he ended up beating up, because like I said, he is not convinced that this dude is just a random PI that the wife hired. So he is passed out. The dude is like knocked out in his office on the floor, face down, bloodied, bruised up from getting beat down. And he was like, who is this dude? And so, you know, the other guy was like, they only got like 2 options. And so Gerald was like, nah, I think we got a 3rd option. And he had the gun on him, was about to kill him, right? So it got to the point where later on in the episode, he takes the guy to Herschel. And I'll get to that later. So anyway, back at Soul Train, the girl Violet, she's there. And she actually ended up getting to dance. So Don Cornelius is having a conversation with that little partner guy again. And the way he approached it at first, I was confused as to whether or not he was talking to the partner or if he was talking about her. But then I had to realize, of course, he was talking about her. You know, ain't nobody trying to see nobody big like her dancing like that. So he rolled up on Tess and was like, yeah, you know we're going to have to cut that, right? And so she was like, yeah. And he was like, you know I'm going to have to take this out your check, right? And she was like, yeah. And, you know, she did all that so that she could have her opportunity. And it's dumb because she really was meshing well. She ended up going down the Soul Train line. Everybody lived for her. And it was good. She even bust out in a split and everything else. So I was like, why y'all mad? Y'all, people kill me. People really kill me. So I was just like, Lord, this is just some foolishness. It got to the point where she was like, you know what? I quit. I don't know if it's going to be for real this time, but she said she quit. But I'm guessing it might be real this time. But he was like, what you mean you quit? You can't quit. You know, she said all this stuff in motion. It's some kind of situation going on that she thought of the idea. And he was like, you can't quit. You came up with this and all this other stuff. So she said she quit. So I don't know if she's going to quit or not. But, you know, she said she wanted to pursue her dream of dancing. So that might be real. So anyway, he ended up, him and the partner, they met up with, I'm going to say, it was either Dick Clark or, just to be safe, I'm going to say, he said his name was Mr. Clark. Met up with him. The dude saw an opportunity. He saw what a lot of people definitely did not see when Don Cornelius had the idea to create Soul Train. He ended up presenting him with a $5 million check with a 25% stake in the company so that he could basically buy the company from him, but saying that he's a partner because he gets that 25%. So he was like, you know, I see some people, you know, you can think about it or whatever. So he walked around the room and was shaking hands with people. And so he was discussing it with his partner. And, you know, he had to let him know he see that he did struck gold with his, you know, vision. But when he came back to the table, he let him know that he was going to have to decline and he was not going to give up his dream. So, you know, he let him know that it's not his to give up. And he gave like this little speech. See, that's what makes me conflicted on what and who Don Cornelius is perceived to be, or was perceived to be like in real life. We have moments where I absolutely hate his guts and the ground he walks on, and moments like this where I live and get my entire life, because he was like, this isn't my company to, you know, sell or give away. He was saying that it was for, the company is somebody who was working with the camera crew, somebody takes a cab to get to work every day, somebody's parents were sharecroppers. I was just like, you know what? That's what I'm talking about. So anyway, you know, like I said, he declined. So then what Simone was actually talking about earlier when she was on the phone, she had booked this club to play at. And she was singing, what's that song? If I were your woman, if I were your woman, and you were my man. Is that Gladys Knight and the Pips who sung that song? I think so. But that's what she was singing. If I were your woman, you were my man. And of course, she does amazingly well. Her voice is so great. Oh my gosh. But she did that. And then at one point in time during her performance, she looks out in the crowd at the table that was reserved for him to see her perform, and he wasn't there. Y'all, so there was a talent scout there, or whatever you want to say, kind of scout that was there. We've seen him before. I don't know if y'all know him, especially if you've seen the show, or if you haven't seen the show. If you've ever seen the Tyler Perry show, Why Did I Get Married? It's the guy who was the comedic relief in the show. He was like an assistant to the guys or whatever. But he's playing some kind of music exec or whatever. And he fits this role quite well. I was shocked. I was like, oh. And I've seen him in something else since that show. I can't think of what it is. And he's been in like commercials. But dude has been coming up. Like I said, I first noticed him in that Tyler Perry TV show, but he's been doing quite well since then. But anyway, the dude saw him, and the dude saw her, and he liked her. He approached her. He was like, time has been flying, 21 already. So when we saw her before, she was like about to be 17 or something, y'all. And the club at least all the clubs so far that she's been trying to get into, they have drinking license. They have liquor licenses, rather. I'm sorry. And, that's a liability. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people have declined to allow her to sing there for that reason. So, that's why he was kind of making a joke like, oh, it's been, time is flying. Because she's not 21. He knows she ain't 21. Whatever, y'all. At one point in time, they was talking, right? And then they end up going outside and talking. Y'all, I was so tired of my spirit. This man know how old she is. Granted, in a lot of states, that is the consent age, all that good stuff. But yeah, this dude had to catch himself, because you could tell the way he was looking at her, he was all the way here for her. I was like, sir, do not do it. Do not do it. Because I was just like, sir, you better not. But anyway, he had to catch himself. And I was like, bruh, no, you didn't. So anyway, Gerald ended up delivering the PI to Herschel. Herschel is played by Clifton Powell. And y'all know who Clifton Powell is. Y'all know who Clifton Powell is. He's in almost every single Black Hood classic movie and TV show ever known to man. I'm sorry. Okay, but anyway, so they were talking. He ended up bringing the dude in there, bloodied and bruised. And, he knew the jig was up. So, he was like, are we going to let bygones be bygones? He ended up giving him this duffel bag full of that money that was from earlier, that was the fight money. And so, he was like, yeah, they'll let bygones be bygones. And I guess Herschel was the one who sent the dude. And since Herschel did not finish the job, Gerald went on by his business. And the dude was pleading with Herschel, to, listen to him or whatever. So, we have to infer that the fake PI has been killed. All right. Anyway, I think what I was talking about with the talent scout earlier, I think he mentioned going to New York, where he thinks that she will be able to go and be able to showcase her talent. So Nate is packing his bag, and Brienne roll up, and he was like, I don't think I need to be here anymore, and all this other stuff. And so she was like, no, I don't know what it is. It's something about you. And so he said something about how you don't know me, and if you did know, I don't think you would want me here. And so, like I said, y'all, I think that is her husband's son. That man got to be at least 18 years old. At least 18 years old, y'all. I'm real tired of him spirit. But I think that's his child. But yeah, so he trying to pack his bag and leave, and she was just like, no. But he ends up explaining to her what he really was going to do, his real intentions. So he was like, look, when I first came here, I was going to come here and tell your husband what really happened. And what really happened was, this is a scene they keep showing that happened in Vietnam, where all these people start shooting. What happened was they were in a position and they had cover. Instead of him staying where he was and not moving, he got up and ran and ended up exposing them, essentially. And so then the enemy started shooting at them, and other people got killed and all this other stuff, and that's how he got hurt. Like, all these people got hurt and killed because of him, because the enemy now knows their position, and he did not stay in cover. So outside of that, he was going to tell him that, and then he was going to go on ahead and drive as far as he could drive, and basically he was going to drive off a cliff and let the car sink to the bottom of the ocean and die. That's basically what he was saying. I was like, Lord have mercy, sir. But anyway, they randomly showed Tess having dinner with Violet, and I'm still not sure if Tess really left this time or not, but yeah. And then they showed Dom meeting up with Gerald, and they're just having a drink at the bar, doing what they normally do. But anyway, next time it's going to be a little juicy, because that's what we're going to see. Him going home for Christmas, trying to make it seem like everything is so fine and dandy and that he's changed. And then some kind of newspaper article going to show up, and his wife going to set it off on him because somebody wrote up something about him, and Desarnay or whatever I told y'all her name was. And his wife gonna sit up and say, who is Desarnay? I was like, oh Lord. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this review. Wow. Y'all, I'm so happy. Y'all gotta excuse me. I'm silly. I'm naturally silly. So anyway, I am gonna try to get off of here and try to play some video games, y'all. I really have not played video games like in a couple of weeks, maybe a month and a half. I hadn't been in the mood, so yeah. I might give y'all a slight update video on myself, just my overall general, whatever about myself, and then I'll hopefully play video games. So anyway, I hope y'all are having a wonderful weekend, and I'll see y'all next time.